Hello everyone, how are y'all feeling out there? It is Saturn day, Saturn night, and the moon is still in Taurus at 26 degrees right at the algol, and the moon is sextiling the sun in Cancer, so that's a nice energy to be home and enjoying some good food and being cozy. At the same time, there are some aspects of tension that we could be feeling, and I know it's been building all week. Everyone that I've spoken to, even myself, have been, man, going through it. Just a lot of things coming up right now regarding past wounds, maybe some memories of being bullied from either family or anybody in your life that you've known for a while. Those memories can be emerging, and it can feel really gnarly. The sun in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries at 27 degrees is part of that orchestration. But if we look to the ruler of Aries, which is Mars, Mars is currently in Virgo, and it's ready to meet up exactly with the South Node in Virgo. So the South Node is where we diminish and drain and get rid of those lower frequency energies of Virgo: criticism, self-criticism, perfectionism, just being like cutthroat. And the thing with this particular energy, Mars conjunct the South Node in Virgo, there could literally be some situations where we could spiral into this vengeful kind of energy where we get consumed. Because if you look at the ruler of Virgo, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury just went retrograde a few days ago in the sign of Leo. Leo is a dramatic, catastrophizing energy, and with Mercury being retrograde at the same time, this is bringing back memories, stirring up old grievances, and Leo wants to express those. And if we look to the ruler of Leo, which is the sun is in Cancer, and again the sun is squaring Chiron, and Cancer is that very emotional, holds on to everything, doesn't forget any sort of inconvenience or grievance. And so these can all be coming to the surface, and it's orchestrated that way so that we can remove those blockages. Because Mars in Virgo with the South Node, it's bringing up these situations and memories so that we can work through them, dissolve them, so that we can move on, so we can keep evolving. Because a lot of these grievances are what have been holding us back, and we're completing these cycles. A lot of us are pattern breakers. We are breaking those ancestral toxic behaviors, and it is easier said than done. I mean, it's some people are very resistant or would rather just not deal with any sort of ickiness. But for those cycle breakers, it's in our DNA or part of our path to work through them and bring them up, and with new information and new ways of being compassionate, with a lot more psychological insights. We know how, like, our parents have, and our grandparents and like generations past have lived through all this pain, and realizing, okay, like, it doesn't have to continue. And so a lot of us are the ones that are doing things differently. Now that we know better, we can do better. So all of these icky situations, as uncomfortable and dark as they may feel, they are meant to surface so that we can unravel it and work through it, so that we know how to correct them, so we know what not to do going forward. And yeah, it's easier said than done. We're all kind of trying these new ways of being, new ways of speaking, but trying and like fucking around and finding out is better than resorting to past behavior and continuing the cycle. So I just want to put it out there that it is, in the air, and Mars in Virgo is squaring, or Venus in Gemini has been squaring Mars in Virgo for the past few days. I think actually today the 18th, or no, yesterday the 18th, they came within 2 degrees of one another, and they come conjunct exactly on the 23rd at 20 degrees, or 21 degrees exactly. And so this square between what we feel like we deserve, what we, our preferences, what we desire, our relationships. It also is connected to females, like female, feminine energies. So your mom, sister, daughter, any kind of feminine mentor. In hard aspect to Mars, Mars is the masculine energy, the yang energy. Venus is the yin energy, your receiving energy, and then Mars is the yang, your outward, fighting, assertive, or aggressive energy. It's the ruler of Aries and Scorpio, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus and Libra, so those 4 signs can definitely be affected. I mean, everybody is affected right now because all of the planets are connecting with one another. The nice thing that is happening right now, like I said, is Mercury in Leo, which is retrograde, is in a flowing energy to Ceres in Aries. And Ceres is that nurturing energy that nourishes, like is able to nourish you emotionally. Some people call it your second moon. So your like emotional go-to, like what you do to kind of like self-soothe in a way. So those are these kind of rebalancing energies that are in contrast to these hard aspects. Yeah, Mars in Gemini, so Venus in Gemini and Mars in Virgo will square exactly on the 23rd. So that can be a conflict of what we want versus what we can do, like as far as mentally, like our strategies and our goals are in conflict. So that will be on the 23rd, and we can feel it building, but we have to also, with Mars conjunct the South Node, we're also finding out what needs to go, what is not sustainable. And this is meant for our collective evolution, and we want to move toward the North Node in Pisces, which is following our intuition and trusting the unknown, changing our beliefs to rely on our inner intuition, like our inner guidance, rather than external data and things that can be convoluted, that can just kind of be made up. Because as we know, like media can be very manipulative, and that's another thing with this energy too, is the square from the sun in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries can be wound manipulation. So there's a wound, and there can be like a withholding in order to kind of like test loyalties, or if you really love me, then blah blah blah. But we also want to consider the ruler of Pisces, which is Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, and that does bring blessings and emotion and connection. When the moon moves into Cancer, middle of next week, I think next Tuesday, the 23rd, the moon with Jupiter in Cancer can multiply these emotions, these grievances. So, it can go, either way. We can be very emotional and, waterworks, releasing these emotions, which is always cleansing and cathartic. So that's nothing to be ashamed of or shy away from, or, just let it flow. Then it can also create bonds. So hopefully the bonds will be created through the release of these emotions, through this cathartic phase that we're in. Hopefully it'll be done in a mature and productive way, emotionally productive, where we're doing less blaming and more solution finding. That's the hope anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of energies that are in play with one another at the moment. Saturn and Neptune are both retrograde as well, and they're in a trine. They're in Aries, and they're in a trine to the Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. So, that can be our worries and sense of, could be escaping, like in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius wants adventure, wants to seek the truth. With Black Moon Lilith there, that's the darker side of whatever sign it's in. And in the sign of Sagittarius, it could be escapism, just like not facing the wounds that we have accumulated over these lifetimes, and just escaping. So there is that energy in a trine to Saturn and Neptune. Saturn and Neptune is very nebulous, even in the sign of Aries, like trying to find that identity. It is a flowing aspect, so it does kind of enable this identity crisis. But we can talk it out. We can find the words. We can, talk with one another. Because this is also in a sextile to Venus and Gemini. We can have those conversations and discover and learn about all the changes that are coming up, that we are exploring. So, just putting it out there that this is happening and everyone's going through it. So you're not going crazy. But this, again, is all in orchestration for our highest evolution. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that helps. And yeah, let me know if you are interested in seeing how these are affecting your chart personally. And stay centered, stay grounded, stay hydrated. Yeah, hopefully I see you on the next one. All right, thanks so much. Have a good weekend.